Thank you so much for joining us for the Medical Cannabis and Adult Use panel. With quite a lot of talk about the recreational legalization in Germany, quite a lot of discussion about what the future is going to look like for medical cannabis companies, for policy, for patients, and the industry as a whole when recreational legalization comes. So it's a pleasure to be joined by my panelists today. We're going to be discussing some of these impacts here today. My name is Lily Temperton. I'm Head of Analysis at Hanley Associates. We work closely with cannabis companies to provide them strategic and regulatory advice, as well as market entry services. Hanway is the advisory arm of the Hanway Company. We are a venture studio looking to build the infrastructure to launch and scale businesses that are needed by new markets created by drug policy reforms. We also run the network First Wednesdays, so if you'd like to read any of our free reports, they're all available online as well. I'm joined today by Jürgen Bickel. He is the Managing Director and co-founder of Stores & Bickel. They are a manufacturer of premium medical vaporizers, all made in Germany. And their most iconic product, as I'm sure many of you know, the Volcano, was actually the first medically approved cannabis vaporizer in the world. Really known as the kind of gold standard among medical prescribers and researchers. And they've got about 22 years experience in the industry, so very strong and great to have Jürgen with us today. We're also joined by Thomas Chaton. He's the CEO and one of the co-founders of 420 Pharma. They are a German-based wholesaler, importer, and distributor and producer of high-grade medical cannabis. Again, quite a lot of experience. They've been active in the market since 2018 and the inception of the medical market. And after an initial kind of interest in music, Thomas first founded his first company 12 years ago. He's got a lot of experience in software development, but due to kind of the cannabis opportunity, decided to leave that role and step out of the CEO role to join 420 Pharma. I think that's quite a strong sign of how much you kind of are here and believe in the cannabis space. And then thirdly, we are joined by Bozidar, who is a vocal, very highly respected activist in the space. He's got over 2 decades of advocacy across Slovenia, across the EU, and across the Balkans. He holds several positions. He's the president of FIT, the Human Rights Association. He's a member of the International Association for Cannabis Medicines, and he's also a founder of the Research Nature Institute. And the Research Nature Institute also have a lot of experience to share with us today. They've got very deep insight into cannabis use among patients and among the quality of products. They run a testing laboratory, so they're pretty much in and out of these products day in, day out. So really pleased to be joined by this panel, and looking forward to getting stuck in. So I guess, Jürgen, to kick things off, it would be great to hear a bit about how you think the medical market will be affected by legalization in Germany, and whether you think it will continue to grow as we've seen, or there will be some sort of shift when recreational access opens.
Yeah, hello everybody. Yeah, what will happen to the medical market? In the moment, the medical market is well developed. In Germany, I think since 2017, it's a good development. It is the same development what has happened in many countries. First there was a medical market, and afterwards there started the discussions about recreational, and so it has more or less paved the way in direction of recreational. We can assume today that a certain amount of people inside the medical system maybe would drop out if there would be a legal alternative available. At the same time, when discussions about cannabis becomes more broad available, there will be new patients also available. Maybe also resistance to prescribe will come down. In the moment, we see the most restrictions in the medical cannabis market by missing doctors who really prescribe it, who really believe in cannabis as a medicine. So overall, also we have seen, like in Canada, we have seen that the medical market went down. I don't think this is necessarily the case in Germany, because the medical market is not so big at the moment. We have seen the numbers this morning. Many people believed 800,000 patients would be available, and we have not even half of them at the moment. So I personally believe that the market overall, also the medical market, will grow. The problem, what also was several times discussed this morning, is the supply. What will people do? Will there be enough supply for the medical market? Have the double standards they discussed now, yeah, of course, for a producer, if you can have it more easy to grow recreational cannabis instead of medical cannabis, of course you would switch to this side. But yeah, overall I think for the government it must be a priority that the medical market is first served and then the recreational market is served. A patient who really needs the medicine, who needs it daily to handle his pain or whatever, must be a priority for the government before a recreational user can enjoy his cannabis.
Thank you, and I think you raised some interesting questions there around where supply will come from, how the kind of framework will look. Thomas, I guess from your experience working with distribution and with the regulators so far, how do you kind of think that legalization may look in Germany, and how do you think things will proceed going forwards, and do you have any sort of a vision on where we could be going?
So after we heard some keynote from our Burkhard leaders here in the panel, I'm pretty sure that they will have a very strong look at the medical market and the experience we just collected in the last 5 years. And I'm pretty sure they will be very open towards that topic because the time is very, very right, I guess. You see this all over the world, spreading cannabis as a new market, even for medical and recreational purposes. But it's very dangerous to have this double standard stuff. And for example, in the medical market, it is very important that the research and development continues, because you definitely have to differentiate your product portfolio between rec market and medical market, because in the moment you have lots of strains in the market, and you sometimes have the problem, so what is the exact cure of that strain in opposite to another strain? And that is the fact why a lot of doctors refuse from that topic, and I'm pretty sure that they will have a very, very open discussion for the rec market, and both markets will work together very aligned, I guess, because research and development will be more in the medical market, and experience in the field will be more coming up from rec market because the volume is much bigger there. So I'm guessing, they will have a very, very certain framework in the rec market, which is very, very nearby the medical market, and then after 4 years maybe, and you see what is really going on in the rec market, you maybe adjust this a little bit.
Thank you, and I think, this is quite resoundingly clear that while there are some great advantages and experience to gain from pivoting medical operations to recreational, there does need to be a really clear line, and I think that's been echoed by everything I've been hearing today. And Bozidar, I guess, speaking about the current medical framework in itself, something you've been working with and doing activism for over the last 20 years, do you think that the current kind of pharma framework is meeting the needs of patients, and do you think it's easy enough to kind of access the natural remedies and to access the type of products and the formats that patients want?
Not really. I can talk for Slovenia, where the bureaucratic obstacles are as severe as maybe in Germany. We have now medical cannabis approved since 5 years, but you can hardly find a doctor in Slovenia who will prescribe it. And even if they prescribe it legally, they can have problems on the medical chambers, and they just want to avoid it. The problem for this medical part, because I would not mix personal use or so-called recreational use of cannabis, is not recreation, it's a personal use. We don't have recreational wine, but I think the education is crucial to get doctors on the cannabis side, because they need protocols, they need, everything around, because and it's a quite individual approach. So in Slovenia, it's hardly to find doctor today, even if they can prescribe flowers, they can prescribe everything, but everything is more or less on Sativex or Marinol, Tronabinol and CBD. This is what's allowed by the Slovenian Public Agency for Drugs. Therefore, we started already 4 years ago an educational program together also with Medical Chamber of Slovenia and Nurses Chamber of Slovenia. We organize already actually 3 education courses for doctors, and I hope this will bring some changes onto this field.
Fantastic, thank you. And I guess moving on to kind of what legalization means to operators and to businesses themselves, such as a lot of people here, what kind of does legalization mean for stores in Bickel? I mean, one of the things I find quite interesting about you guys is you're one of the only kind of businesses that have got proven revenues from medical. You've got a deep understanding of consumers, both kind of in the recreational space overseas, alongside in the medical kind of the German space. And I guess from that position, how do you see things shifting for stores in Bickel, and how do you see your consumers and revenues being affected?
Yeah, I think we are a little bit cautious about our expectations. We are already in business, as you mentioned. Yeah, we are distributing them to more than 100 countries in a year. Yeah, we are available with what we call household devices, where the intended use is for chamomile and such things, and we have the medical products where the intended use is for cannabinoids. But we think once it's legalized, of course, you will have a push with it, at least at the beginning. You will have more information available, therefore we will surely reach more clients, but we don't believe that our business will skyrocket because of legalization in Germany. There's, as mentioned already, a good business in Germany. And so if you look to the rest of the world, of course, there it can be. If you look to Canada, the experience there, of course, yeah, there was improvement in business, but also not too much. And many times with legalization, it also comes with a lot of regulation who you have not in place before. You know, of course, we cannot in the moment do advertisement for cannabis, but we can do advertisement with life science stuff and things. But once, like in Canada, then you are not allowed to, for example, to show your products, or you must your products bring to that they are not usable. You take the batteries out, so you cannot turn them on in a shop and things like that. So overall, we see this legalization, because governments, they have so much fear about it, and so they think about all this, what we also hear today, about yours protection, about consumer protection, and this leads then at the end of the day, you cannot even show where you can get your cannabis from. Yeah, or even they even think about having the state distributing in their own shops. You know what you have in the model of Quebec, for example. Yeah, if you look to Quebec, the government does it by themselves, and there's, for example, no vaporizer available at all in their shops. Yeah, because they don't think this is necessary. Yeah, so there are only household devices available. So overall, with legalization also can come additional difficulties for the business. Yeah. So overall, we will have some improvement in business, but yeah, not skyrocketing.
Thank you so much. Very, very valuable insights. And Thomas, on the you mentioned the product differences as well, the difference in the kind of portfolio that you might need to stock for medical and recreational. Do you expect to see any kind of overlap of products and suppliers, or do you expect this to be a completely separate thing, completely separate brands, product formats?
No, because as I said at the beginning, I'm pretty sure that the politics will be very aligned for rec market within the standards of the medical market. So I'm pretty sure you cannot divide supplier for medical and supplier for rec market. This will be something in the same. But to answer the question, I'm pretty sure that from the product side, in the medical market, what I really mean is you have to develop a real medicinal product to get all the doctors on board, because at the moment I would guess maybe 2, 3, 4% of the doctors in Germany prescribe cannabis, and all the others say, okay, give me some data. And that is, for example, the reason why we as a company do not hire as much pharma sales guys as we could, because what should they tell the doctors? They come to the place and say, yeah, this is cannabis, and what is the difference between that? It's another strain and has another terpene profile, but the real data-based medicinal standard, we are far away from that. So, and we definitely have to put more and more effort into that to really create a medicinal product which more and more doctors can prescribe because they are responsible for that. And when I would be a doctor, I would be very interested in the fact what exactly will happen to my patient when I'm prescribing this kind of product. And I think the rec market, when this is coming up, and the topic cannabis as such is spread among the whole society, I guess then more and more doctors maybe put away their doubts about cannabis and be more open into and do more research and stuff like that. And so this will be a very crucial process during the whole rec market opening.
Fantastic, thank you so much. And Bursula, I guess a kind of closing question. As well as kind of the impacts on companies of the industry, at the bottom line of this, there is quite a big fundamental human rights question. It's not just any sort of product. This is like a human right almost to be able to consume cannabis and to be able to enjoy that as human personal use. And I think there's been a lot of activism as you've pioneered, and I think that's been a huge role in getting the medical market off the ground. And I think, do you see a place for more recreational activism? How do you think that kind of civil disobedience and these forms of activity can help to kind of progress the cause and help achieve some of these aims that we've all been talking about?
Of course, the use of cannabis, especially for medical purposes, is a basic human right, because we have enough data that we cannot just ban it and take it off the table. But I really think we should divide medical market and personal use. Because for personal use, I think we don't have to invent hot water again. We have regulated alcohol, everything what is needed. We have Jugendschutz because of alcohol and everything. So just copy-paste, and I think it's regulated more than enough, alcohol. Also, domestic use and domestic brewery, it's very hard to regulate. So I think we should apply something similar for this. And medical market rules are completely different laws, different approach. So I don't think we can mix those two fields, in one basket, apple and pears. Unfortunately, I have to tell you that around 15% of Slovenes are using cannabis on a daily basis. That's a lot, and we cannot look away. And now actually patients are forcing doctors to prescribe cannabis because patients are also well educated, especially when they are very sick or they need really help. So in Slovenia, under the survey of Faculty of Social Sciences, 30% of oncological patients are also on cannabinoids. And I think this is not really good for credibility of the medical society, so to say. So I think this should be changed. And the crucial on the personal market or personal use market is quality control. We have quality control now for last 8 years, and it should really be controlled as it should be for cannabis, because now it's the worst thing where you can buy whatever, even if it just looks like cannabis, but it doesn't have any weight.
Fantastic, thank you. And I guess just wrapping it up now as we are close to time, I'd like to ask everyone the same question. Is there an ideal scenario where everyone can win? The industry, governments, the recreational users, the patients, operators. And I know it's quite a broad question, but in a nutshell, do you think that's possible?
Of course it's possible. Maybe we should invest a little bit more into education, not just research, because cannabis is most researched plant on the planet, but I think we should put more effort to education and things will change soon.
Perfect words, I cannot add some more, because education is the crucial point here in this case, especially for cannabis market. And if we achieve to have a very good education base and acceptance within the society, I think there could be a win-win situation for all relevant players in the market.
Yeah, I think in the center of the win-win must be the patient and the consumer, of course. For them it's available. So for the government, it is about to make it as easy as possible, be as low or as few regulations as possible. In the moment, there's still all this fear, and then also for medicine, when you want a big ball, then you need outdoor, you cannot do online, you cannot, and all these things. I think we can treat this much easier. And if you look to the countries where they have legalized it, you see the negative consequences are minimal, and they are definitely lower than the consequences of prohibition. So I would say the more liberal the approach is, the better it is.
Fantastic, and thank you so much everyone for coming. That brings to the end of the panel. I just want to say a final thank you to all of the brilliant panelists for their insights today. Yeah, I hope to see you guys soon.